Welcome to Weekends with Whitney. Coming up in today's show, Beau's Extravaganza is back.
And in the same location,
place,
on the 50 acres in Holden, that was home to John Schneider Studios, until he lost it in January in a sheriff's sale. Find out why this is still John's place. Find out why this is still John's place. Back. And how he hopes Dr. Nick shows us how our negative feelings about others create suffering in ourselves.
Dr. Nick
bitterness, resentment, all those horrible things that we can feel about something or someone, and never really look at what he calls the vulnerable.
But first, Beau's Extravaganza is building on its success of last year. It's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Another high-flying weekend is just days away. An adventurous musical and star-studded celebration.
I cry, I'm lost inside, won't you help me?
Hosted by John Schneider.
We've got cars, we've got food, we've got a carnival.
They were all kinds of crazy, but it kept them from going insane. Old Hag had been to prison. Johnny told him not to be ashamed.
We've got Kid Rock.
Yes, Kid Rock, like you've never seen him.
I really want people to see him the way you can't see him at the Superdome. So it's going to be a great opportunity for him to perform for folks, and for them to see him in a manner that they'll never, ever really get to see him play again.
The two go way back.
Kid Rock is a dear friend and a great fan of the Dukes of Hazzard. First time I met him, I was on his all-access backstage pass. So he has one of my Beau's General Lees. And when I happen to be doing his fish fry and officiating the hood slide contest,
I bet your mama look good too. I bet your mama look good too. I bet your daddy wants your mama about the same way I want you. I bet your mama look good too.
he said he heard about all the stuff that was going on here, and he said, hey, if there's ever anything I can do. And I said, well, there is. And he said, what? And I said, I would love for you to come play acoustic guitar, not the big show, acoustic guitar, so people can actually hear you and see you.
Other big names and local musicians will be there too.
Beau Bice is going to be here. Chris LeBlanc is going to be here as well. Way Jennings is going to be here, and he's it's like Waylon opened his mouth up and spit him out. Keith Burns from Trick Pony is going to be here. Cody McCarver from Confederate Railroad is going to be here.
He got dirt tattooed on his right forearm, D-I-R-T. He used to be a NASCAR fan till we lost D-A-L-E.
Great new band called Smith & Wesley.
Special cake my brother tied to me, like the courage I needed to try. Sure if I did that I could fly.
Is going to be here. It's really going to be fantastic.
This will be the second annual Beau's Extravaganza. A surprise to some who thought it wouldn't happen again after John lost ownership of these 50 acres of property in January's sheriff's sale.
life throws curveballs. We had the floods. The water here was this high here. So we've had a lot that contributed to that. And the payment that I couldn't make, I think it's important for people to realize, the payment I couldn't make was a balloon payment. It wasn't a monthly payment. It was a balloon payment of a substantial amount of money. I've had people say, well, why is the guy's on television, why is he losing his house because you're telling me he can't make a $700 a month payment? Well, yeah, I can, but that wasn't what it was. It was a balloon payment.
Yeah.
There were loans involved after the flood. You know, we did a lot of things to be able to maintain the look of business here. Thank God for the SBA. But I owe that money. So as everything is, nothing is quite as simple as it appears.
Even though John no longer owns this property, make no mistake, he's renting it and still has the run of the place.
Eat my dust!
One day he hopes to buy it back. Next weekend could help that happen.
The goal, actually, for Beau's Extravaganza is for me to be able to get it back after.
Awesome.
Yeah, which would be great. Or at least to be able to put a down payment on getting it back.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this point, it's going to have to be an owner financing thing.
John and the new owner have forged a friendship and a good working relationship.
The look of it has not changed, except it's gotten better. Because new people who care about the plants and the roads, they are involved in what we call John's Place now. It's really not John Schneider Studios anymore.
Okay.
It's John's Place, John Schneider's place that he rents. But one day, and when that happens, we'll have to come out again, and then I'm going to say, Whitney, look at this.
It's going to be great.
This is, yeah, and that day will come. It's just not now. And that's okay.
Holden's been John's home almost 5 years. He's made a lot happen on and off screen. He's a Hollywood heartthrob with a heart of gold.
Ready? 1, 2, ho! Up you go.
Like the time he made dreams come true for a local child suffering with a rare genetic disease. Nate got to meet his TV hero, Beau Duke, and take a ride in the General Lee.
Taking it away.
The only way they know how. It was really fantastic. And as fantastic for me, really, as it was for him.
Yeehaw!
All right, now you ready for mine? You ready? It's pretty loud. It could hurt your ears. Yahoo!
But that wasn't all. He also treated Nate's entire family to a trip to Disney World.
Going to Disney! Holla, Daddy!
He is definitely one of the most kindest people I've ever met in my life. What he did for me and my family is magical.
Straightening the curve. You know they're flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will.
John raises his voice and awareness in fundraisers like Red Stick Relief.
So hang on, Louisiana, you can bet we got your back. No bureaucratic BS gonna stop us in our tracks.
And the gala for wounded officer Nick Touye.
Don't ever let this evening get out of your mind and of your soul. Don't ever forget that we are really truly one Baton Rouge, regardless of how much money we have in our pocket, regardless of our education, regardless of where we came from or where we are or what color we are or what we do for a living. Remember, we are one Baton Rouge, and we can be an example to everyone. And we are tonight.
Holden became John's new Hollywood, making movies like Smothered, Anderson Bench, Inadmissible, and dozens more. He's opened his studio to outsiders by resurrecting the variety show in Yeehaw, a live onstage show in the Moonshine Barn with audience interaction.
So you learn about how a television show is shot. It's not going to be a start to finish linear like show. We're going to be stopping. Wait, that was not funny. That was not funny. Not remotely funny.
That was funny.
Somebody, anybody, give us a better punchline to that joke.
He brings in surprise guests, some seeing Louisiana for the first time.
This don't mean that we don't do the same things back at home. It only means that love and feeling still hanging on. Ooh.
Yeehaw is so much fun. And we mess up and we laugh about it, and props fall over and people trip, and the audience usually has a better knock-knock joke than anybody on stage. And it's just great. It's great fun.
It's time we all got together with our family and our friends in a moonshine barn with John, and when we say, with our family and our friends in a moonshine barn with John, that's when we say.
2 floods here in 2016 devastated his property, but resurrected his music career. After a 20-year hiatus, he released a new album, Ruffled Skirts.
When it's there to steal your past, please tell me, Lord, how do you stop the water? When it's there to steal your past.
Music is a wonderful avenue into people's souls. Mm-hmm. And it's also a wonderful avenue for which, or through which your soul can be exhibited for others. Yeah. They're not just chords, they're not just words, they are, especially with this record, it is the truth. It is our truth of what happened here.
The floods were physically and financially wrecking. To inject an infusion of cash, last year, John and his partner Alicia created the first Bose Extravaganza. But that,
It hasn't got the handy.
and even competing in Dancing with the Stars, weren't enough to pull the property out of the money pit it had fallen into.
I think a lot of people feared once it was sold to another owner that you may leave Louisiana, or you may be gone.
Yeah, success is guarded by problems. I believe truly, absolutely, that when you are confronted with a huge problem, it means there is a huge victory on the other side of it. And that's what I looked at January 16th as. Wasn't mad at anybody. It wasn't even really like, it wasn't anybody's fault. It was life. Life threw a bunch of curveballs. Had life not thrown a bunch of curveballs, including 2 floods, including the divorce, then I wouldn't have these great new friends that I have who want me here. And that's pretty terrific. And we'll see what the future brings with that. So I do believe that everything, as long as you stay in the game, failure is a choice. It's a choice that you make when you quit. I don't quit. I am the Terminator. I make the Energizer Bunny look tired. And I pity anyone who tries to get in Alicia and my way. We are the team to beat. And as they say in the South, ain't nobody beat us yet.
People flew in for last year's extravaganza from as far away as Australia. This year, they hope more locals join in.
You know, it was interesting last year. We had more people come from Seattle than came from Louisiana. Yeah, we had more people from Canada than Mississippi. So what that said to us is we really need to up our local advertising, which is why I'm delighted that we're doing this.
Me too.
Because I've had people on Facebook say, oh, we wish we could come, but we're in New Zealand. We have one group that they're bringing a General Lee from Australia.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
The expense of that alone.
I know, it's crazy. But we want thousands and thousands of people from here to come and have a great experience. A lot of people don't realize that my place here used to be Camp Singing Waters. So a lot of people went to camp here. So if I just tell them that, hey, come on out to Beau's Extravaganza at Camp Singing Waters, they'll be able to find it.
They'll find something for everyone, too.
There's going to be a lot of car action. There are going to be jumping cars, even rolling some over.
I'm jumping the General Lee. James Smith is going to do a turnover in a cop car.
Oh my.
Which is really a sight to see. And then our buddy Raymond from Northeast Ohio Dukes is going to be jumping the Smokey and the Bandit car. So there's a lot going on. We have a big car show again. So far, we have almost 60 General Lees, just General Lees registered.
You can also expect to see some famous faces.
I don't like these antics of yours. This is serious, Veronica.
And do you think I'm not?
You're why he was talking to those girls.
Peter Peros is coming, and it's great. Peter is not only on the Haves and Have-Nots, but he was RC the Third on Knight Rider. We're going to have celebrities from Dukes of Hazzard, the Haves and Have-Nots, Knight Rider. Butch Patrick is going to be here, who I grew up watching on television as Eddie Munster with the Munster coach. Gary Baxley is coming. He was one of our great stunt guys on the Dukes of Hazzard, did the first jump ever on the Dukes of Hazzard. John Cade will be here. He jumped the General Lee more than anybody else on the Dukes of Hazzard. So I'm excited.
For those wanting a VIP experience, a few of those tickets are still available.
Friday night, we're doing a special party for the VIPs with a bonfire and some music. All weekend, they don't have to wait in line for an autograph or for a drink. They don't have to pay for a drink. They'll have front row seating at all the concerts, including Kid Rock at the very end. Front row seating to the jumps. So they'll be treated like royalty, which is really pretty great. They ain't cheap, but they're worth it.
You can't get lost getting there. This is on the roof.
It will look as you drive by as if the General Lee is jumping over Miss Shirley's. And my mom would have loved that.
She would.
Loved it, loved it, loved it. This is where she sat. Did this. Had her dogs out here. Yeah, I think Mom would be very happy with where this place is right now.
And I think everyone's
beginning of January, she would not have been very happy, but right now she'd be very happy.
You're a phoenix rising, always rising from the ashes.
You know, that's right. You have to. But in order to be that, there has to be ashes.
Right.
Right? Yep. Yep. It makes you strong. Success is guarded by problems. Great success is guarded by great problems. Bring them on.
To get tickets, go to JohnSchneiderStudios.com. To get tickets, go to JohnSchneiderStudios.com. And still ahead,
Dr. Nick shows us why negative emotions about others creates suffering in ourselves and how we can transcend it. As Weekends with Whitney continues.
kill my feet. Out of style. Instead of trashing them, let's donate them. Your gently used shoes create success for others. The American Businesswomen's Association in Baton Rouge has launched its Shoes for Success drive. Your shoes create educational opportunities for women locally and around the world. Now through May 15th, drop off shoes at Habitat for Humanity's Restore. Your shoes will be a step in someone else's success. Breck Summer Camps, where an adventure awaits every child.
Where I became a star.
Where I made my first shot.
Where I crushed the waves. Where I met my wild friends. Where I learned to play.
Where I
scored the winning point.
So break out of the house and experience a new adventure at Breck's Summer Camps. We are often quick to condemn anyone who disagrees with us, other people, things in life, rather than taking ownership. Dr. Nick joins us with more. We're talking about suffering and transcendence.
Transcending the suffering.
So that's weird that I had to talk about condemning, but they're all intertwined.
It's kind of a Buddhist approach that we're talking about this morning, which is, what makes us suffer? Why do we suffer? And how may we transcend it? And of course, one of them was clinging, attachments.
Right, identifying with our possessions.
With our possessions, and not living, in kind of an internal, inner, detached, obviously is the great word for Buddhism. But what really struck me was this notion of condemnation. And I didn't like the word because I just don't like, condemn seems so
harsh.
Harsh, thank you. But that's basically what this article is saying, is that when we're condemning, we're belittling, we're disliking, anger at someone else, bitterness, resentment, all those horrible things that we can feel about something or someone, and never really look at what he calls the vulnerable aspects of our lives.
And he said too that that's one reason why we condemn so much, is because we don't want to be vulnerable and look inside of us. It's so much easier to lash at the other person.
Right.
Give us an example, like you have clients.
Well, because just real quickly, because see, we have a hard time valuing fear. We have a hard time valuing guilt. We have a hard time valuing even a little bit of shame of I just don't really feel good about myself having done that. We don't value, our own sense of needing to evaluate and look at. So what we do is we blame. Like I have clients, I can't believe they did an intervention and made me go to this treatment center, and then I had to pay for it. And all about these, and I'm like, did you not give any thought that you had been binge drinking for 3 months? I'm not making humor, I apologize.
No.
But are you not seeing that you did this?
Right.
And I'm telling you, and I think some of the reasons that this person or persons don't do it is because of fear and guilt, and I don't want to face what I've done.
Right.
But guilt can be self-correcting.
Right.
Fear can lead us to caution, which is a good thing. A little shame can make us realize I'm more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I can be better.
I'm worth more than that. I'm better than that. I can do this. But those are areas of vulnerability.
And you were talking about the spiral of condemnation.
Yes.
And it keeps going down. And when we're never vulnerable, we never grow.
Well, what I thought was interesting about the spiral was when we blame others or put our lives and our interests outside of ourselves and say, if she or he would just change or do this or I don't like that, we're really defending ourselves. Okay?
Right.
And the more we blame, according to this person, the more we become defensive. And there's the spiral. So we live a life of defensiveness instead of saying, yeah, I did it. I binged for 3 months. It feels good to say it. Now, help me move beyond this. Because and also the other thing about vulnerability is that we really want to believe in people's good intentions. Being vulnerable is saying, I trust you. We need to let people know that that we trust them.
Right. I think a lot of people blame their bosses for some of their failures at work instead of saying, maybe they do have a point. Maybe I should have spent more time on that project, or maybe I'm not working with my clients enough. Instead of saying, he is out to get me, or she's out to get me. She never liked me. Yeah. And I guess that's an example too of how, instead of condemning your boss, just take an honest look, right? Allow yourself to be a little vulnerable. It's not to say that you might not have some valid points, but if you don't think that you might share some of the blame, then
it's never going to get better, right?
Exactly. I had a situation in my life a while back of someone just being so angry because, you know, her husband had betrayed her and had an affair, and just was having the hardest time
getting over it,
yeah,
or
just
moving
so
on.
so much anger and bitterness and resentment, and became over time aware of, wow, I gotta let this go. I'm blaming, maybe did I have any role to play, or how do I want to get over this, and how do I want to deal with my fear and my lack of trust, which are all areas of vulnerability.
Those are big, yeah.
Areas of vulnerability. You know, how do I still look at this person and say, okay, that's done,
yeah,
that's behind us.
Wow.
It's really hard because the blame game is easy.
Yeah.
And it protects us. You.
Yeah. You're the problem.
You're the problem.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff to be vulnerable.
Right.
And to accept that I have something to do with it. I just wanted to mention that, you know, one of the ways we can also change our suffering is and he talks about it, acts of kindness. Praise. Praying for those that we may be angry with. I do that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do that too.
And it's not insincere. I genuinely step back and say, that's a good person too. I pray for them. Because
Right.
maybe I was hurt by someone.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean I have to carry it. Acts of kindness are so powerful. I think I told you once about, you know, the person that he had very concerned about the trust with his wife. And so every time she would leave and come back, he would say, where have you been? I said, do you think maybe the next time she comes in, you could say, hello, my darling, did you have a good time?
At which point she'd probably say, yes, I did, blah, 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 blah.
And how was your day? And now it's like the acts of kindness. And I don't think that's insincere.
Right.
It might not feel good because you really want to say, where have you been? But instead you say, it's an act of kindness. How was your day? Did you have a good time at the mall?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, she's not there, she's not there.
And always thinking the worst, right?
Always thinking the worst.
So I love it when we're condemning somebody else. We really need to think about ourselves more, and then them in a loving way. I love.
Yes.
I know some people say, "I'm just going to surround this person in so much love," and they really used, telepathy, really,
Yes.
just to send those good vibrations out into the universe. I do think it's healing for both.
Yes, and that's kind of back to, again, an interesting dichotomy. We want to be detached, Buddhistically, but we also know that we're all connected.
Right.
And that energy flow is happening. Why instead of blame and anger, why can't it be kindness?
Right.
And praying for. And you say often to me, Nikki, I want to believe that somebody can grow and evolve.
Yes.
You say that often. I'm not into condemning people because I believe they can grow.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty much an act of kindness.
Right.
And a belief in...
Certainly politicians, something comes up from their past 30 or 40 years ago and they say, I'm a different person, and some people say, no, you can't be. But, well, of course they are.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. I think that we have to be very aware of people's ability to change. And there's the act of kindness and the praying for.
That's right.
Very important.
Thanks, Dr. Nick. More Weekends with Whitney after this. Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees. Thanks for sharing your time with us here on Weekends with Whitney. We hope to see you back here again next week. But until then, we leave you with this.
I'll be the prisoner.
Okay.
Or the.
Let's have some lights.
I know, right? Just need the key. Oh, the key's in it.
Muddy. Oh.
What?
Let me out! Let me out! I was only kidding. I didn't write that song.
Woo! Don't know where I'm going, but I don't like where I've been.